All right, Shabosai, let's begin. Today's daf is Chav Zayin. I want to thank Newberger for giving the shir yesterday. We're going to pick up on top of Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. So the Gemara Shabosai, second line, last two words on the line, V'savar Rabbi Huda. So remember again, we're discussing the really fascinating discussion about the ability for a kusi to go ahead and, or the truth is I should say differently, the ability for anyone other than a Jew to be able to administer bris milah, and specifically focusing on the ability of the kusi as well as the akum. So again, remember, just once again to define our terms, the akum is the oved kochavim, someone ultimately again who is in worships idolatry. We've distinguished already between him and the min. The min yesterday again we saw was somebody who not just worships idolatry, but someone who is aduk ba'avoda Zara. I guess there are recreational worshippers, and then there are more habitual worshippers. You know, even by the akum, you know, there are some people who are a bit more committed, some people are a bit more lax. You know, mafrum or not a stark. So that's the we'll get into that distinction in just a little while. And the kusi, of course, Abosai, is the individual. The kusim are the nation who were resettled in the north of Eretz Yisrael by Shalmaneser, the king of Ashur. They are Gentiles, but there was an outbreak of lions in the north of Eretz Yisrael. They realized that this was a response to their idolatrous practices, and they converted. The nature of their conversion is subject to incredible dispute. So what it comes down to with kusim is, if it's a kusim, don't accept Torah Shabbal Peh. So first off, again, they don't accept the verbal or the oral tradition, right? But and when it comes to Torah Shabbal, anything they keep very well. Anything they don't keep, they don't keep. Right? So that's the kusim. So kusim, again, if you notice, are often the ability for a kusi to do something or to discharge someone else's obligation, a particular halacha, very often is mitzvah specific. You look at whether or not this is something that the kusim in general have accepted or not. So we'll say now, let's go. For Rabbi Yehuda, kusi shaber. Then we're supposed to remember again on Amud Beis, there was a little bit of a discussion about the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda. So does Rabbi Yehuda hold that a kusi is permitted to go ahead and give a bris milah to a Yisrael, and such a milah is kosher? V'tanya, we learned in a brayso, Yisrael malas akusi. A Yisrael could give a bris milah to a kusi. The kusi lo yamol Yisrael. But a kusi is not permitted to go ahead and give a bris milah. Why not? Mipnei shemal l'shem har grizim divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Because I will say literally again, he goes ahead and the kusim were found to be worshipping some type of dove-like image on the top of har grizim. So because of that, again, we assume that when a kusi engages in some level of religious service, his intention is to do it for his idol on the top of har grizim. Therefore, a kusi cannot go ahead and administer a bris milah, because we're assuming he's not doing it for the purpose of the mitzvah of bris, but rather he's going ahead and doing it for his avoda Zara. This is the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yossi says, "V'chi heichad matzino milah min haTorah l'shma." So Rabbi Yossi comes along and says something very interesting. He says, "From where do you know that milah has to be done l'shma?" Meaning, who says? Perhaps milah is just a mechanistic mitzvah to remove the arla, to remove the foreskin. The intention behind it, the kavanas behind it, could be totally irrelevant. Ella mal v'holech ad sheteitze nishmasa. So we'll say this is an expression. Rather, Rabbi Yossi says, let the kusi administer milah literally until he drops dead. Which will say is another way just of saying, let him do milah after milah after milah, and there's absolutely no problem. Ella, so we'll say, so the problem is, we see Rabbi Yehuda on record saying what? I see Rabbi Yehuda on record saying that a kusi can't administer milah. On Amud Beis, we said that according to Rabbi Yehuda, a kusi can administer bris milah. So what's happening over here? To which the Gemara says, "Ela li'olam efoch kida'abchinon me'ikara." Rather, again, as the Gemara says, reverse the shitos as we had originally reversed them on Chavav Amud Beis. Udkakashi l'chad Rabbi Yehuda as Rabbi Yehuda. We'll say, remember, the first time, the reason we switched the shitos was because the Gemara posed a contradiction to the two shitos of Rabbi Yehuda. That's not a problem. I'll tell you why. Hahid Rabbi Yehuda hanosihi. I both say there are two Rabbi Yehudas. There's Rabbi Yehuda Stam, and there's Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. And those are two different opinions. Disanya, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi Omer. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi says as follows. Minayin lemila ba'oved kochavim shipsula. What Rabbi Yehuda says, from where do you know? This is Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. From where do you know that if an akum administers milah, then such a milah is possible? Talmud Lomar, Va'ata as brisi tishmar. Because we'll say the pasuk says, and you shall guard the covenant of my bris. So also Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi is of the opinion that only a Jew could go ahead and administer milah. This is Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi's shita, based on the pasuk Va'ata as brisi tishmar, that the covenant of bris milah is something that is to be guarded, is something that is only to be administered by those who are part of the mitzvah. So the Gemara says, Amrav Chista, my time with Rabbi Yehuda. So we'll say ultimately again, what's Rabbi Yehuda's logic? So Gemara says, Dechsev laHashem himo. We'll say, take a look at Rashi for just a moment. So the Gemara says, laHashem himo, va'asa pesach laHashem himo, v'darish be mila lishma. So we'll say, listen to this. This is actually quite fascinating. So remember again, Rabbi Yehuda, we have now two different distinctions. Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi was the one who said, Va'atas brisi tishmar, essentially tells me that what? That only if you are obligated in the covenant of bris, can you go ahead and give a bris milah to someone else. That's Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. The shita of Rabbi Yehuda, as we're going to see, holds that a kusi is pasul, but an akum is kosher. This is quite fascinating. How could it be that a kusi is going to be puzzled to give a milah, yet an akum will be kosher? So I want to tell you something amazing. Look at Rashi, and there's an incredible musar in this Rashi. See Rashi, la Hashem himo? See that Rashi? La Hashem himo? Va'asa pesach la Hashem. So we'll say, so first of all, the way this pasuk reads, and we're going to see, Rabbi Yehuda is kind of splitting up this pasuk in an intriguing way. It's v'chi yagor itchager. V'chi yagor itchager, va'asa pesach la Hashem, himol lo kol zachar, va'azikrav la'asoso. So literally what it means is when there is a ger who will live with you, right, and he's going to do a pesach la Hashem, himol lo kol zachar. Ultimately, again, every male must be circumcised. So you see, Rabbi Yehuda dashes this pasuk a little bit differently. So he reads it, la Hashem himol, which means that a milah must be done l'shem Hashem. They're both saying, now watch this. This is a riveting Rashi. La Hashem himol, va'asa pesach la Hashem himol. Listen to this. V'darish bei milah l'shma. So Rabbi Yehuda, remember again, this is Rabbi Yehuda, not Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. Rabbi Yehuda darshins, la Hashem himol, teaches you what? That bris milah must be done what? Must be done what? La Hashem, must be done l'shma. Get ready for this. Get ready for this. He says, hilchach kusi pasal. So a kusi can't administer a milah. Why not? Demal shelo l'shma. Because also remember again, who does the kusi do the milah for? L'shem what? L'shem is Avoda Zara and Har Grizim. We'll say, watch this. Aval ovid kochavim lo mahil ela adaita di Yisrael she'omer lo mahul v'haim l'shma. We'll say, get ready for this bombshell. Bombshell. Listen to this. We'll say, do the kusim observe bris milah?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. It's in the Torah. The difference is that when a kusi does it, say his intention is for the Avoda Zara. An akum doesn't have a mitzvah of bris milah. Therefore, I will say, when the Yisrael tells him to give a bris milah, the Yisrael tells him, you're going to do this in order to fulfill our biblical dictate. And what's the das of the kusi? The das of the kusi is the das of the Yisrael. So in other words, I will say, the kusi is das neutral. Why is he das neutral? Because he doesn't have this mitzvah. He doesn't have this, so whatever the Yisrael tells him is what he's going to do. The kusi has an obligation. I'm sorry, thank you. The akum is das neutral. Why? Because the akum does not have, paying attention, good. Right? So the akum doesn't have this obligation. Therefore, again, whatever das the Yisrael tells him to have is the das he will have. And therefore, if he does the bris milah, it's fine. The kusi is obligated in the mitzvah. And therefore, again, he has this hashkafas with the mitzvah, that it's for the Avoda Zara. Therefore, ultimately, if he does the bris milah, it's going to be possible. So we'll say this is the shita of Rabbi Yehuda. An akum is good, and a kusi is not good. We'll say, what's the musar? The musar is, no hashkafas are better than krum hashkafas. Right? No hashkafas are better than crooked hashkafas. See what I will say? At least if you have no hashkafas, you're open to hopefully finding the MS. If you have crooked hashkafas, if you have flawed life hashkafas, then I will say that taints everything. It's easier to work with the akum than it is to work with the kusi. Because the kusi is the tabla rasa, at least when it comes to Inyane Hashkaf and Inyane Mitzvahs, he has no shitas in it. The kusi is problematic because the kusi thinks he knows everything. The kusi thinks he's got it all figured out. The kusi has his crooked Hashkafas, and those crooked Hashkafas ultimately, again, seep into his Maisa Mitzvah. It's an incredible Musar. Okay, Rabbi Yossi. We'll see what Rabbi Yossi. So far we have two of the shitas down. We've got Rabbi Yehuda and Nasi. We have Rabbi Yehuda. What does Rabbi Yossi say? Himol Yimol. We'll say now Rabbi Yossi dashes Himol Yimol. We'll see, remember again, what's Rabbi Yossi's shita? Rabbi Yossi holds that the Mila is kosher even through these other individuals. Why? Because he holds Himol Yimol, Rashi says, is Ribuyahu. We'll say, what's a Ribuy? Himol Yimol pretty much means, Rabbi Yossi says, anyone could do Mila. Anyone could do Mila. Says the Gemara, Ve'ida Chaksiv La Hashem Himol. But what do the other opinions do? With Rabbi Yehuda's shita of Hashem Himo, which I will say sounds like that Mila must be done for the sake of the mitzvah. Hahu bePesach ksiv. They say, Rabbi Yehuda, that's a very nice try. The only problem is you are putting the punctuation of the verse in the wrong place. The La Hashem doesn't go on Himo. What does the Hashem go to, Rabosai? The La Hashem goes on Pesach. V'chi yager itchager v'asa Pesach La Hashem kama Himo lo kol zachar. See, I was saying, Rabbi Yehuda is like a little Hasidish here. Rabbi Yehuda is taking away the punctuation, right? And what does he do? He places the comma after La Hashem Himo. Says the Gemara, that's not the way the punctuation works. It's Va'asa Pesach La Hashem Kama Himo Kol Zachar. The La Hashem the Lishma is going on Pesach. It's not going on Bris Milah. To which the Gemara says, V'idach nam yaksiv himo yimo. So I'll say, so what do the other opinions do? Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yehuda do Rabbi Yossi himo yimo. Dibra Torah kalashon b'nei Adam. They say that's not such a raya, because they will say very often the Torah will employ a double lashon. That double lashon does not mean anything. That double lashon is just, we are actually saying chashon, that doesn't mean anything. We understand that double lashon as Dibra Torah kalashon b'nei Adam, which I will say sometimes means the Torah just employs the normative verbiage reflecting the way people spoke. So again, people would often speak by repeating things, himo, that's the way the Torah codifies it as well. Fine. So we'll say, so now we're still in the midst of this dramatic machlokes. Ultimately, who is kosher to administer bris milah? So here we go. Itmar. Minayin, we'll say, by the way, you understand, this is a dramatic shita because this is very halacha l'maisa. It's exceptionally halacha l'maisa in a variety of different situations. Could be halacha l'maisa again in a situation where a person doesn't have access to a moel. Could be halacha l'maisa in access where a child Nebuch is hospitalized, and for whatever the reason, again, especially in today's litigious society, it used to be that it was much easier to get a moel into a hospital to perform bris milah. Today, it's much more difficult. So again, these sugyas are exceptional. Not as much the kusi is not as much, but now the akum, we'll see who's defined as an akum. Itmar. Suppose listen to this. So the Gemara begins by saying, where do we know that a milah by an ovid kochavim is possible? From where do we know that? So Daru bar Papa Mishmei Dirav Amar Va'ato as brisi tishmar. So we'll say Daru bar Papa quotes the passage that we said before. Va'ato as brisi tishmar. We'll say, what does Va'ato as brisi tishmar mean? It means that you shall guard my covenant, which we'll say means what? Now remember, the rest of the pasuk is Ata v'zaracha acharecha l'doros sam. That ultimately, again, you and your children after you for generations, which indicates what Rabbi was saying, that bris milah, because it is a mitzvah given to Klal Yisrael, can only be performed. The covenant must be guarded by Klal Yisrael, which means it can only be performed by Klal Yisrael. And I just point something out very interesting to you, which is, where do we learn the mitzvah of bris milah from? Where do we learn mitzvah of bris milah from? No, we learn the mitzvah of bris milah from Parshas Tazria, where the pasuk says, "Ubayom hashmini yimol b'sa'ar laso." And the reason for that is very important. Principle of the Yerushalmi of ein lemeidin davar mikodem matan Torah. So you cannot learn binding mitzvos out from anything that occurred before Sinaitic revelation. That's why the Torah goes and Dafka repeats almost all of the mitzvos, with a couple of exceptions. Gir Anoshe is not repeated. Period Barivya, because it's a mankind mitzvah, not just the Jewish mitzvah, but in general, any mitzvahs that we learn before Matan Torah are repeated again somewhere in the Torah after Matan Torah. The concept of bris milah comes from Avram Avinu, but ultimately, again, the mitzvah of bris milah, as the binding obligation, comes Ubayom hashmini yimal b'sar laso, Parshas Tazria. That being said, even though the Iker Mitzvah, we can't learn out of Iker Mitzvah from anything that occurred before Matan Torah, we can learn out details. That's why once I have the binding mitzvah of Bris Milah and Parashas Tazria, I can go back and look by Avram Avinu and see different details that help to shape the form of the mitzvah. So over here, Dara Bar Papa is saying, okay, I learned the Ikra mitzvah Parashas Tazria, but how do I know that an Ovid Kochavim can't perform a milah? Oh, that we can see by Avram Avinu, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu said Avram Avinu, Dafka, this is a mitzvah given to you and to your offspring, which indicates Bris Milah could only be performed by a Jew. Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan, Himol Yimol. We'll say Rabbi Yochanan learns it out from Himol Yimol. Rashi says, and I remember again, I want to point out something dramatically amazing. This is it's going to be a good week. You know, when you start with a Gemara like this, that is just so overwhelming, and it's only Sunday morning. Fasten your seatbelt. Who knows mamish what's going to be? So listen to this. Remember, Rabbi Yossi understood Himo Yimol meant what? Rabbi Yossi Darshan Himo Yimol meant what? Rabbi say? Anybody. Watch this. Rabbi Yochanan is saying no. Rabbi Yochanan is saying Himo Yimol. Look at Rashi. Himo Yimol. Kari Bey Hamal Yimol. Mishu Mohul Yimol Acherim. Rabbi say this is amazing. Rabbi Yochanan says Himo Yimol. It's to be vocalized as Hamal Yumal. He who is circumcised can go ahead and be mal someone else. Rabbi say same phrase, which Rabbi Yossi learns to mean to be an incredibly inclusive phrase that says anyone could go ahead and administer Bris Milah. Rabbi Yochanan says no, means a limiting phrase of Himo Yimo, Hamal Yumal. He who is circumcised can in fact administer Bris Milah to others. So we'll say, so here's the interesting part. So both ultimately again are agreeing bottom line. So you have again Dara Bar Papa saying Va'ates Brisi Tishmar, which tells us that only descendants that only Klal Yisrael could go ahead and administer Bris Milah. Rabbi Yochanan is saying the same thing. Himo Yimal, Hamal Yumal. He who is circumcised could be the one who does Bris Milah. So both say they seem to be saying the same thing. What's the practical difference? Oh, watch this. Aravi Mahol, V'givnuni Mahol. Ooh, we'll say, what about this? Our cousins, right? What about an Arab who is circumcised, right? Because Bnei Yishmael also did Milah, or a Givnuni Mahol. So we'll say Givnuni, Rashi says, is Uma Muhula. Was another nation, the Givnunim also, again, who went ahead and did Bris Milah. So we'll say, so watch this. So these are people who observe the mitzvah of Bris Milah. So watch this. So, Aravi Mo, V'gavnuni Mal, get ready. Manta Amar, Himo Yimo, which we vocalize how? Hamal Yumal. That in order to go ahead and do the mitzvah Bris Milah for someone else, you have to what? You have to be circumcised yourself. Ika, these people, the Aravi and the Gavnuni, can what? Are permitted to do Bris Milah. Why? Why? Because Rabbi say again, they're circumcised. If that's the criteria, Hamal Yumal, that he who is circumcised can circumcise others, then by definition, the Aravi Mahol and the Gavnuni have the ability to go ahead and administer Bris Milah. Uman Damras Brisi Tishmar Leka. Rabbi says, according to the opinion who holds that no, it's the Joshua as Brisi Tishmar. It's not just the din in being physically circumcised. What is it a din in? It's a din in being bound by the mitzvah of Avram Avinu. So we'll say, and again, even though Yishmael is the son of Avram Avinu, also this pasuk is referring to Avram Avinu's Klal Yisrael descendants, not referring to his Yishmael descendants. So that'll be the nafkamina. I have a hotnan, but 1 second, we learned, we'll say, this is actually amazing. Konam she'inina minarelim. We'll say, listen to this. Let's say I make a neder. What's my neder? I make a konam, right? We'll say konam is a lashon of Isser. Konam she'inina minarelim. I make a neder, a konam, that I'm not going to benefit from anyone who is in Orel. I'm not going to benefit from uncircumcised people. So we'll say, so again, who does that neder apply to? So the Gemara says, mutar ba'ar le Yisrael, va'aser b'mule ovdei kochavim. So we'll say, I am permitted to derive benefit, ultimately again, even from uncircumcised Jews, but not permitted to get benefit, ultimately again, from circumcised ovdei kochavim. What do you see from here? Alma, afagav de mahili, kimandalo mahili dam. So what do you see from this? You see from this that the designation of an orel and the designation of a mohol, Rabosai, is not just a designation that is reflective of a physical reality, but rather, again, is reflective, ultimately, again, of a national identity. A Jew, even if ultimately, again, he is not circumcised, is called a mohol. An akum, even if he is circumcised, is what? Is called an orel. So we'll say, if that's the case, then how can you say the Aravi Mahul and the Givnuni Mahul will be the nafkamina between the two shitos expressed before? Ela Ikeben, rather again, what's the nafkamina Rabosai between Rabbi Yochanan and Daru Bar Papa? Remember again, Daru Bar Papa ultimately telling us Va'ates Bisi Tishmar and Rabbi Yochanan telling me Himo Yimol, Hamal Yomol. So what is the nafkamina? Ikebenehu Yisrael Shemesu Echav Machmas Mila Velo Mador. This is fascinating. This is the case of Yisrael who is uncircumcised. You will say, why is he uncircumcised? Because his brothers before him died ultimately again of bris milah, which I will say today we would probably identify as hemophilia, right? So his brothers died as a result of bris milah, and therefore again he is uncircumcised. That halacha says do not circumcise him. Mesu achav machmas milah. If his brothers died as a result of bris milah, we do not circumcise him. So the Gemara says, also watch this. So the interesting question, of course, becomes is what is this individual's status? In other words, let's say you have this guy who is physically uncircumcised, but he has a halachic license to be uncircumcised. So the shaila is, can he go ahead and give a bris milah to someone else? So Laman Amar Va'atas Brisi Tishmar Ika. So I'll say, according to the opinion who says that Va'atas Brisi Tishmar, that I will say, if you are included in the covenant of bris, you can give a bris to someone else. So we'll say this individual can give a bris. Why? Because he is included in the covenant. It's just that he has a halachic exemption. However, Laman Domer Himo Yimol Leka. But also, according to the Man Domer, it says Himo Yimol, which means what? Hamal Yumal, which we translate as meaning he who is circumcised can circumcise others. This individual can't give a bris. Why, Rabosai? Why? Because at the end of the day, as much as he has a license to remain uncircumcised, nevertheless, Lamaisa what? He's uncircumcised, and therefore, by definition, he can't give a bris milah to someone else. Is that true, says the Gemara? Or Laman Damar Himo Yimo Leka? Is that true that according to the Man Damar, Rabbi Yochanan, who darshans Himo Yimo, which we vocalize as Hamal Yumal, he who is circumcised can circumcise someone else? Is that true that this individual who is uncircumcised because Mesu Echav Machmas Mila can't give a bris to someone else? We learned Konem Sha'ani Nana Mimulim. We'll say if a person says, I hereby make a neder that I'm not going to get any benefit from anyone who is circumcised. For anyone who is circumcised, Aser Ba'arle Yisrael. So we'll say he is Aser still to get benefit from even uncircumcised Jews. Umutar b'mole of deikochavim, but he is permitted to get benefit even from those who are circumcised. Akum. So we'll say, what do you see from here? Same principle as we saw before, which I will say. The designation of an Orel versus someone who is Mal is a national definition. A Yisrael is always considered to be someone who is Nimol, even if what? Even if physically he doesn't actually have the bris milah. Whereas an Akum, even if he has a physical bris milah, still what Rabosai considered to be an Orel. So if that's the case, then even in the guy who is Mesu Achav Machmas Milah, and therefore he is uncircumcised, he should still be able to give a bris to someone else, because he should be covered under the Himo Yimol, Hamal Yumal, even though meaning he's not physically circumcised, because he's Betoras Bris Milah, he should be permitted to give the bris. Ama Afgav Delo Mihili, Kemante Mihili Damu. So what do you see from here? Even though he is not physically circumcised, it's as if he is. And if that's the case, even if he's uncircumcised, because Mesu Achav Machmas Milah, he should still be permitted to what? To give a bris milah to someone else. Ella, Rabbi say, here we go. Rabbi say, here's an nafkamina between Dara Bar Papa and Rabbi Yochanan. What's the nafkamina, Rabbi say? Isha. Can a woman administer a bris milah? So watch this. Laman Amar Va'atas Brisi Tishmar. So according to the opinion who learns that from the pasuk, Va'atas Brisi Tishmar, you shall guard my covenant. Suleka. So we'll say, what that pasuk teaches us is what we'll say. Anyone who is included in the covenant ultimately again has the ability to give a bris milah. If you're not included in the covenant, then by definition you can't be mal someone else. A woman obviously is not included in the covenant, and therefore again she cannot give a bris milah. Di isha lav bas milhi. Ulamandar will say, now this is riveting. Ulamandamar himo yimol. But I will say the one who says himo yimol, which we vocalize as how? Hamal yumal. He who is circumcised ultimately again can circumcise someone else. Ika was according to that drasha, a woman can give a bris milah. Why? The isha keman de mehila damya. because a woman is like someone who is circumcised. I will say, so what does that mean? What does that mean? So we'll say this is actually quite interesting. It can mean a couple of things. It can mean that ultimately, again, at the end of the day, we'll say, what's the function of bris milah? What's the right? To remove the arla. A woman doesn't have an arla. So you could say, meaning de facto, she is like someone who is nemo. Or I will say what it means is that since she doesn't have the mitzvah, by definition, it's as if she has that status already. So we'll say, either way, the Gemara is pointing out to her, which is really quite a fascinating drasha. So if you hold that it's a din, that it was, so we'll say, va'atas brisi tishmar means, if you're included in the mitzvah, then you could perform the mitzvah on someone else. But if you're not included in the mitzvah, you can't perform the mitzvah. So a woman is not included in the mitzvah. Therefore, she can't do it. But if you hold himo, yimo, the Rebbe say he who is circumcised can circumcise someone else. So an isha is effectively considered as if she is nemo. Therefore, by definition, she could go ahead and perform the mitzvah on someone else. To which the Gemara says, watch this. We'll say first wide line. 1 second. Is there anyone who holds that a woman can't perform a bris milah? Meaning we have biblical precedent that a woman can perform a bris milah. We'll say, what's the biblical precedent? V'haksiv, vatikach tziporat sar. Right, sorry, excuse me. It will say ultimately again, we know the very enigmatic episode, Vahiba derech bamalon, vayivkeshem alach alokim, vayivakesh lamiso. Moshe and Tzipora and their 2 sons are on their way down to Egypt. They had not yet circumcised the baby for a whole variety of different reasons. And what happens? It's a famous episode. Moshe Rabbeinu is about to die. Tzipora takes the sharpened stone, Vatichras es arlas bina, and she removes the foreskin of her son. So we see from here that what? That there is biblical precedent, ultimately again, for a woman performing bris milah. So the Gemara says, Karibeh vatakach. We'll say, it doesn't have to be vocalized as vatikach, it could be read as vatakach. We'll say vatakach means what? She caused to be taken. Which means, Rabbi Say means, maybe she didn't do it herself. Maybe at the end of the day, again, there was someone else who performed this on her behalf. But it says that she cut off, she removed the arla. Karibeh vatikaras, or vatikares. Which will say, again, she caused it to be removed. Perhaps she asked someone else to do it, and they did it on her behalf. The possibility is, she began the milah, Moshe va'agmira. And Moshe Rabbeinu came along and what? Finished it off. So we'll say, so what the point the Gemara is just making over here is that it's not, again, as much as the simple reading, the simple pshat, ultimately is that Tzipora performed the mitzvah of milah. The point the Gemara is making over here is that pasuk could be read in ways which don't necessarily indicate that reality. Perhaps, again, either she started it, Moshe Rabbeinu finished it, or for that matter, again, maybe someone else was there that ultimately, again, she commanded to perform the milah, and the milah was done that day. So we'll say, so bottom line, halacha l'maisa, how do we paskin? How do we paskin? Halacha l'maisa in terms of who is permitted to go out and do milah. We'll say, so listen to this. This is the Shulchan Aruch in Yaradeya, Simin Reish Samech Dalit Sif Aleph. Get ready for this. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Hakol Ksherim Lamol. We'll say everyone is kosher to go ahead and give bris milah. Afilu Eved, Isha, V'Katan, V'Arel Yisrael Shemesu Echav Machmas Milah. So we'll say pretty much anyone could do bris milah, right? And Eved, we'll say Eved Isha. Remember again, so really the order should have, not the order should have been, but again, normally in halacha we see Isha first. Whatever an Isha could do, an Eved Canaan usually do the same thing as well because he has obligations and mitzvahs like an Isha. So an Isha, an Eved, a Katan, which is quite dramatic. Arel Yisrael Shemesu Achav Machmas Milah. We'll say that's our case that we just read before. That even if someone is uncircumcised, but he has a license to be uncircumcised because his brother said as a result of Milah, could all do it. However, Shulchan Aruch does qualify this. V'myesh Yisrael Gadol Sheodea Lamol. But obviously, we'll say if you have just a Yisrael Gadol, meaning a regular Jew who is circumcised himself, who knows how to do bris milah, who kodem l'kulam. Obviously, again, if he's there, better to have him do the milah. Now the Ramah comments and he quotes the Smak and Agos Mordechai, the Yesh Omrim, the Isha lo samo. There are those who say, Yeshum, who says that a woman should not give bris milah. And I will say the reason that a woman should not give bris milah is because unlike the other individuals in this list, a woman is not in the parsha of bris milah. So therefore, the Ramah says lechatchila. Again, it is better for a woman not to do bris milah because she's not in the parsha. And the Ramah says v'chinogin lahader achar ish. And therefore, again, the Ramah says I'm okay with Eved, Katan, or Yisrael because they're all in the parsha. A woman who is not in the parsha, the chatchila, it is better not to have her do it. However, again, I will say that's a lechatchila. But at the end of the day, if the woman is the only one who is there who knows how to administer bris milah, even a woman could administer bris milah. However, aval oved kochavim, afilu hu lo mahol, afilu hu mahol, excuse me. But I will say in akum, even if the akum ultimately again is mahol, even if the akum ultimately again is circumcised, lo yomo klal, lo yomo klal. I will say, however, what if he did? Here's the interesting case. V'imal, what happens if the akum did administer a bris for a Jew? What's the halacha? Ein tzarech lachzor v'lamo pam shenis. Bosai, you do not have to do another bris milah. Which Bosai, now, where does this come up all the time? Oh, all the time. This Bosai come up for gerus. Let's say you have a situation of someone who just didn't grow up from. So let's say again they had a circumcision, but the circumcision was done in the hospital by a non-Jewish doctor. So say, so what is that? So the Mechaber says, if you're a Sephardic Jew, you're in luck. Why? Because the Mechaber says there is no follow-up necessary as long as it was a real milah. In other words, as long as the circumcision conformed to the halachos that we have as bris milah. The Ramah comes along and says no. He says, V'yeshomrim techayovim lachzor ulahatif mimenu dam bris v'chein ikar. So the Ramah says over here, that I will say, even though again you don't have to do another circumcision, which is obvious because there's nothing to circumcise, but what you have to do is what we call hatafas dam bris. And I will say you do a little prick, and ultimately a little poke, and there draws blood, and ultimately again I will say that's what's called hatafas dam bris. So I will say that's how we paskin halacha lemaisa. That if someone had a bris milah that was done, I will say the Ramah then goes on to speak about again a mummer. What happens if it's done by a mummer Yisrael, which is a bit more of a complicated topic. But again, when in doubt, I will say what we do is pretty much if bris milah was done by someone other than a frum Jew, then ultimately, I will say just in order to satisfy all the opinions, we'll just draw a little bit of blood from the makom milah, what we call atafas dam bris, and that ultimately again is machshir the entire milah as well. So we'll say that is indeed the halacha l'maaseh as codified in the Shulchan Aruch. Incredible. Says the Mishnah. We'll say let's go back there. Misrapin bahen ripoima, one of our low ripoin nefasha. So we'll say now again more details about things you could do with an akum. You could be healed by an akum. Ripoin mammon, avalo ripoin nefasha. So we'll say we'll have to define what these terms mean in the Gemara.
Amen.
So you can go ahead and get what's called ripoin mammon, but not ripoin nefashas from the akum. Furthermore, vein mistaprin man b'chol makom. I will say you cannot go to an akum barber, and it doesn't matter where the barber is situated. Even if the barber ultimately, again, Rashi points out, we'll say even if the barber sets up shop in a very public place. What's the issue over here? Rashi says over here, the issue over here is we'll say, what did a barber use? A barber used a razor. So again, the Chazal said, don't go to an akum with a razor. Don't put yourself in a chair with an akum with a razor. It doesn't end well. Right? They will say, so again, we're mamish concerned. And again, I just want to point out these are realities that the Jews are dealing with. So you don't put yourself in a seat in a chair with an akum with a razor out of concern that maybe he's going to kill you. So I'll say therefore again about say mutter lo beino. So we'll say Chachamim disagree. They say as long as the akum barber is operating in a public place, it's okay. You can go to him, but do not go to if he offers you a private haircut, say thanks but no thanks. Says the Gemara. Let's define our terms. So my ripoy mamon, my ripoy nefashos. So we'll say the Mishnah told me that I can get ripoy mamon, which we'll say literally means financial healing, right? Or healing from mammon I could get from the akum, but not ripoy nefashos. So what does this mean? It says Gemara ilema ripoy mamon bischar ripoy nefashos bechinam. So we'll say if you say maybe ripoy mamon means that if you pay for the akum doctor, then you could get healed by him. but if he offers you his services for free, then you may not get healed from it. We'll say, what does this mean? Look at Rashi. Ripoy nefashos bechinam, kilomar me'atzmo u'minafshahu oseh, or bischar lo katel dechayish, let's say that. So let's listen to this. If the akum doctor charges for his services, so we'll say this is his parnasa, you could assume that what? That he's going to treat you appropriately. Why? Because he doesn't want to lose his parnasa. If, however, again, this is not his parnasa and he's just offering you a favor, you should say no thank you to the favor. So says the Gemara, if that's the case, listnei misrapin b'em b'schar avalo b'chinam. So Rabbi say, let the Gemara say that. Let's say you could go to an akum doctor when he charges you for his services, but you may not go to him when he's offering you the services for free. So therefore, I can't be the definition. Ella ripoy mammon davar she'ein bo sakana. Ripoy nefashos davar sheish bo sakana. So maybe what it means is as follows. Ripoy mammon means you can go to the akum to treat you for a non-life-threatening ailment, but you cannot go to the akum to treat you for a life-threatening ailment. I bam Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, "Afilu rivda de kusilta lo masinon minayu." Rabbi Yehuda said, "Rivda de kusilta means even the puncture of the bloodletter's needle." Which Rabbi says, no way of saying, don't go to the akum for anything. Even something as simple as puncturing you a little bit for some bloodletting, don't go to me for that. Ella ripoy mamon behemto ripoy nefashas gufei. Oh, so maybe it means is as follows. Ripoy mamon means you can go to the akum to atrabosai. You go down to treat your animals. Right? So you could use an akum as your veterinarian, but you cannot use an akum as your general doctor. This is backed up by the sister Rabbi Yehuda who says, "Afilu rivda de kusilta lo masinon minayu." This Rabbi Yehuda says you cannot go to the akum even to do bloodletting. Amar Rav Chisda said about say, Amar Aramar Okva, Avalim Amar Lo. So interestingly enough, the way the Gemara seems to pass is like this second approach. That ripoy mamon, Rabbi say, means that what? Ripoy mamon means davar she'ein bo sakana. So you can go to the akum doctor to be treated for a non-life-threatening situation, but you cannot go to the akum doctor ultimately again to be treated for a life-threatening situation. Now comes on the Gemara and qualifies this, and the Gemara says, Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Rav Ukva, Avalim Amar Lo, Sam Ploni Yafalo, Sam Ploni Ralo. Where I will say, if however again, if again, I go to the akum doctor, and the akum doctor says, I recommend this medication. This medication will be good for you. This medication will be bad for you. Mutter. It is permitted to heed that advice. Why? Amud Beis. Why? Savar shayule mashilo. Because the akum assumes that what am I doing? I'm asking around. I'm asking for opinions. And as akum assumes that, as Rabbi say, the same way that I'm asking the akum doctor's opinion, I'm going to be asking what? Other physicians' opinion. I'm going to go for a second opinion. Always good to go for a second opinion. And Rabbi say, because the akum knows that what? That I'm going to be asking for other opinions, he's not going to give me detrimental advice. Why? Because if he's giving me detrimental advice, then what? Then he's going to be discovered, and ultimately, again, he will lose his medical credibility. So therefore, I will say, the Gemara says over here, even though, again, under normal circumstances, I can't go to an akum for sakanas nefashos, there are cases, but if he gives me advice, or if I can ask him advice. Why? Because whenever it comes to asking for advice, then what? The same way the akum says I'm asking him, he also presumes going to be asking other people. And I will say again, there's a general principle of umalomar nafshe. If a person does something, especially for his parnasa, he's not going to want to risk his personal reputation by dispensing bad advice. So the Gemara goes right to Amar Rav Amar Rabbi Yochanan, va'amri la Amar Rav Chisda Amar Rabbi Yochanan. This is a fascinating discussion. Safek chai, safek meis, ein misrapin. Rabbi say again. This goes back to what we said before. If the condition that a person is suffering from is one in which there's a possible, look at Rashi actually, third line from the top, Safek Chai, Safek Meis, Choli, Shimlo Yirapenu Rofe, Safek Yichya, Safek Yamus, Ein Misrapin Mehem, to Ovid Kochamim Vadai Kotile, Umutav Shianiach Ula Yichya. So we'll say, watch this. So Rabbi Yochanan says the following. If a person, we'll call him Ruvain, has a situation of safek chai, safek meis. So we'll say he's in a life, which means a life and death situation. He may live, he may die. What's the halacha? We'll say that's a case where you cannot seek out the medical attention, or you can't seek out healing from an akum physician. Akum physician, why Rabbi say? Because at the end of the day, we assume that the Ovid Kochavim is going to kill him, and therefore again Rabbi say, what? Better to go ahead and play your chances with this. Right? However, again, Safek, however, Vaday Meis, Misrapin man, we'll say, what does Vaday Meis mean? Vaday Meis means if your situation is absolutely terminal, then what? You might as well seek out the help of the Akum. Why? Can't hurt. Right? You've got nothing to lose. You're going to die anyway, you got nothing to lose. So we'll say, Safek Chai, Safek Meis, what we say is, listen, there's a possibility that you'll live. Better not to compromise that possibility by seeking treatment with the akum. But if it's vaday meis, so we'll say what vaday meis is, your situation is terminal. The person is going to die. So if I'm going to die anyway, so the again is nothing. I lose nothing by seeking out the attention, the medical attention of the akum. Well, I mean, I'm going to die anyway from this condition. The akum is not going to give me a worse outcome. One second says, we'll say it's not true. What about Chayisha? We'll say now, what Chayisha means is as follows. Chayisha means, we'll say, what about the fact that the akum may hasten my death? In other words, it's true that I may have a condition that I'm definitely going to die from. We'll say Chayisha means there are still moments of life. So if I go to the akum, I could what? I could lose those moments. In other words, the akum may hasten the death, my death, and I may lose out on those precious moments. Like look at Rashi, we'll say Chayisha, Shavikocha Ma'maher Lahamiso. B'shema yom o yamayim yichya. We'll say, in other words, if I do nothing, I may have some time. If I go now, again, time may only be a day or two. If I go to the akum, he may even deprive me of my chayisha, of my day or two to live. To which Rabbi said, the Gemara says something very amazing. L'chayisha lo chayshina. We'll say now, what does it mean l'chayisha lo chayshina? Literally, again, to momentary life, we're not choshish. We'll say what that means is that in this type of situation, where we're deciding between Chayisha going to the Akum doctor, you know what? We're willing to risk your Chayisha for the possibility that the Akum doctor may ultimately treat you properly and may actually be able to give you additional life as well. Uminat Timra, the Chayisha lo amrina, lo Chayshina. I will say, from where do we see that for Chayisha and Chayisha? I will say now, this, by the way, is a very profound discussion. Because I will say in halacha, this comes up. This question comes up all the time in halacha when it comes to someone who is suffering from a terminal illness, and let's say again they are told by their physician, right, that what there is this procedure or there is this thing that we can do. Now here's the balance. If it's successful, it can prolong your life. If it's unsuccessful, you'll die on the table. So we'll say we weigh what we call Chai Olam versus Chai Shah. Chayisha means if we don't do anything to this person, we know he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 days a week, 3 weeks, whatever it is to live. That's called Chayisha. Chayolana will say means that if we administer this procedure, a person can have a much longer life. There is always this tension between Chayisha and Chayolam. We'll say, so now what the Gemara is saying over here is as follows. We'll call him Ruvain. Ruvain has a terminal condition. If left untreated, what's going to happen? Let's assume he's going to live a week. That's his Chayisha. If we let the akum treat him, he could live 6 months. So we'll say, so what does the Gemara say? The Gemara says, ultimately, again, the Gemara says that what we do is, when it comes to the akum, we go ahead and we don't worry about his chayishara, we let the akum treat him. So we'll say, so where do we see this concept that's not choshesh for chayisha? We'll say, so take a look, Taptosis also discusses this a little bit, we're not going to get into it right now. Mefaktin alav es hagal. So we'll say, so it says the Gemara as follows. So from where do we know that ultimately, we're not choshesh for chayisha? So we'll say the Gemara says something very interesting. Dichsev im amarnu novo ha'ir v'arav ba'ir v'masnu sham. We'll say, listen to this. Where do we know this from? Take a look at Rashi. Rashi says im amarnu novo ha'ir ba'arba anoshim mitzrayim. We'll say, so this is talking about the 4 lepers in Sefer Melachim. We'll see who are the 4 lepers in Sefer Melachim. It's Gehazi and his 3 sons. Remember again, Gehazi has the whole falling out with Elisha, right? Remember again, he goes in and he takes the riches from Naaman, right? Elisha goes in and cures Naaman from his saras. Naaman wants to repay Elisha. Elisha says, no, thank you. Gehazi runs after him, says, my master changed his mind. He wants the riches. Gehazi stores away the riches. And what happens again? He's stricken with saras. So I will say, Gehazi and his sons are all become lepers. And what happens, I will say? They're sitting on the outskirts of the city. Lepers on the outskirts of the city. They're about to die. Remember again, let's say, there's rampant starvation everywhere. Everywhere. Remember again, there's an incredible starvation. There's a drought that's happening. So one day, Gehazi and his son say to each other, listen, listen, we're going to die sitting here anyway, there's an Aramean encampment not far. Let's go there and let's what? Let's see if we can scavenge for some food. Jews are going to walk into the Aramean encampment. So Gehazi and his son say to each other, what's the big deal? Because what are our options? Option number one is die here. Option number two is die there. Okay, so you know what? At least option number two comes with the possibility that maybe, just maybe there's no food inside the Jewish city. Maybe there'll be some food in the Aramean encampment. So I say, what do you see from here? That they were willing to go ahead and what? Go to the Aramean encampment, even though it was possible that they die even faster than they would, because the Arameans might kill them right then and there. But yet we see from here that they were willing to play with their chayisha. So we see the chayisha lo chayshinon. I vika chayisha, and love the chayisha lo chayshinon. So what do you see from here? The fact that Gehazi and his sons were willing to go to the city, gambling with their chayisha, for some possibility that they might find some food, tells us Ramosah that what? We're not choshesh for chayisha. So may say, the Gemara raises the kasha, to which the Gemara says, Meisvei, lo yisaf yitin adam im haminon. Notice it's very interesting. A person should not, we'll say, usually yisaf yitan usually refers to business dealings. In this context, what it means is, a person should not have any involvement with minin. I will say, who are minin? Who are minin versus an akum? So we'll say a min, remember as you saw on Chav Vav Amud Beis, is someone who is aduk ba'avoda Zara. But what does it mean to be aduk ba'avoda Zara? Not only does he worship, but what does he do, Rabbi say? He proselytizes. So the Ovei Kochavim, he's good in his stuff, and he even dislikes Jews, as we've seen before. But what? He's not really trying to convert anyone. The min is someone who's actively trying to proselytize. Therefore, a person should really have nothing to do with the meaning. And I will say, ultimately, again, is a dramatic Gemara. You should not be healed from them. In other words, you shouldn't take any type of medicinal healing from them. I will say, even what? Even for Chayisha. Even if they hold the key to prolonging life for just a little bit. So the Gemara tells a dramatic Maisa. Maisa ben Dama ben Achoso Rabbi Shmuel Shekisho Nachosh. There was an episode with Ben Dama. Ben Dama was the son of the sister Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol. Right? So what's Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol? Who was one of the Asar Rogi Malchus. So Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol had a nephew. His nephew was a young man by the name of Ben Dama. Rabbi said, interestingly enough, in general, when somebody is known as Ben Dama, what does that tell you? They're young. Right? Rabbi say again, that's like Ben Zoma. All these individuals we know historically died young. Ben Bava, Ben Bud, right? All these, right? We've seen in Pirkei Avos. So when they were young, they were just known by their father's name. So he has a young nephew by the name of Ben Dama. And what happens? He was bitten by a snake. Nebuchadnezzar was bitten by a snake. Oba Yaakov ish kfar sachanya l'raposo. And Rabbi say Yaakov, this guy kfar sachanya, Rabbi say who was a known min. We learned about him before. Known min. He was right. He was a known min. Came to heal Dama. Ben Dama, excuse me. Rabbi Shmuel. And Rabbi Shmuel would not allow Yaakov, this min, to go ahead and heal his nephew. V'amrli Rabbi Shmuel achi. And I will say, listen to this. Ben Dama said, Rabbi Shmuel, my brother. So he was referring to his uncle as his brother. Hanach lo ve'er pamimenu. Please, let him heal me. Vani avi mikra min Torah shehu mutter. And I will bring you a proof from the Torah that it is mutter. V'lo hispik ligmor as hadavar. We'll say Ben Dama didn't even get to finish his sentence, meaning he didn't even get to bring his raya before he died. Umeis, Karl of Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel said about his nephew, Ashrecha Ben Dama. Praiseworthy are you, Ben Dama. Shegufeich tar v'yatzasan nishmascha betara. You were tar during your lifetime, and your soul left your body in a state of tara. We'll say why. What was Ben Dama's last word? Mutter. Mutter, I will say. So remember again, mutter, tahor are synonymous words, are synonyms. So therefore, again, so Rabbi Shmuel said about his nephew, you lived the life of Tara, and literally, again, your soul left your body in a state of Tara. So your last word was mutter. V'lo avarta al divrei chaverecha, and you did not violate the words of your rabbinic fellow. Shayu omrim uporetz geder yishachenu nachash. Because it was, again, remember, Chazal said that you should not accept anything from a min. Medicinal healing you shouldn't accept from a min or anything else. Right? Because why? And if you violate the words of Chazal, uporetz geder yishachenu nachash. That ultimately, again, he who breaches the fence of rabbinic rulings, ultimately, again, will be bitten by a snake. Now, I will say now, ironically, they're applying this statement to where? Right, to a case of Ben Dama who was what? Bitten by a snake. So we'll discuss that probably in tomorrow's daf a little bit more. So the Gemara says as follows. So we'll say, what do you see from here? You see from here that Lamaisa, even for Chayisha, we will not rely on an akum. To which the Gemara says, no, this is not a case of an akum. Shiny minos. So we'll say, this is a case of a min. And a min is different. Why? The mashcha, the asilimim shach basrayu. The will say minim are different. Because the will say minim, not only do they subscribe to an alien ideology, but what? They actively try to recruit others to follow them. Had Yaakov Ish Kfar Sachanya been successful in healing Ben Dama, then what? He would have used that ultimately again as a proof to be able to lure many others to follow after him in idolatrous ways. Therefore, Rabbi Shmuel, and we'll see there's another reason over here as well, Rabbi Shmuel made the call ultimately again to not allow healing to occur. Amar Mar, I don't understand. What does this mean? Ben Dama himself was bitten by a snake. So let's be honest over here. What would have been the big deal if he would have violated the words of the rabbis? He's going to get bitten by another snake, or he was already bitten by a snake. To which the Gemara says, "Chavi d'Rabbanan the less they asus klal." He would have been bitten by the snake, which of course is a metaphor. Ultimately, again, being bitten by the snake for those who violate rabbinic dictums, has no cure at all. Umay havile meimar. So just out of curiosity, what was Ben Dama going to say to his uncle? In other words, Ben Dama clearly felt that it was mutter to allow Yaakov Ish Kfar Sachanya to administer healing to him. So he never got a chance to say it because he died after he said the word mutter. But what would he have said? What was going to be his raya? Umay havile lemeimar v'chai bohem v'lo sheyamos bohem. So we'll say, interestingly enough, so Ben Dama's raya would have been, the Torah says, v'chai bohem. You're supposed to live through the statutes of the Torah. V'lo sheyamos bohem. You shouldn't die. In other words, that for saving of a life, the Torah allows everything. Ben Dama felt, including what? Including being treated ultimately again by this individual, Yaakov Ish Kfar Sachanya, who was a min. So Rabbi Shmuel knows this Rosh Hashanah. What would Rabbi Shmuel have countered? Rabbi Shmuel, Hani Mili Bitsina, Aval Befarhes Yolo. That is true, Rabbi Osai, that you could heal yourself, even with, and this is amazing by the way, even with minus and even with Avoda Zara. Rabbi Osai, that's only in private, not in public. Why? Rabbi Osai, listen to this. This Rabbi Osai, get ready for this. This is going to be one of the most dramatic shittas you've ever heard. Are you ready? Yeah. You ready? Good. Okay. Good. Baruch Hashem. Tisanya, Hay Rabbi Shmuel Omer. We'll say. Hay Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel said, "Minayin shim omrim lo laadam avod avodos kocham va'al tehareg sheyavod va'al yehareg." Rabbi said, "This is shittas Rabbi Shmuel." Rabbi Shmuel says, "How do I know that if somebody tells me worship avodah Zara, or I'll kill you, that's what? That I should worship Avoda Zara and not be killed. Ya'avod v'al yehareg Talmud lomar v'chai bohem v'lo sheyamos bohem." Rabosai, get ready for this. Rabbi Shmuel Shita Rabosai, is that what? Even Avoda Zara is Ya'avor v'al yehareg. This is Shita Rabosai. Now obviously we reject this Shita, but Rabbi Shmuel Shita is that even by Avoda Zara it is Ya'avor v'al yehareg. Better to worship idolatry and not be killed. Talmud Lo, so Gemara says, Yochal afilu befarhesya. Rabbi Shmuel qualifies that. We'll say, that's what? That's only b'tzina. That's only privately. You might have thought that this is even true publicly, where there's an element ultimately again of Chilul Hashem. Talmud Lomar, v'lo sechalulu eshem kodshi. So we'll say, listen to this. So Shitas, Rabbi Shmuel, and Rabbi say, we reject this because we hold that Avodah Zara is one of the Gimel Chamuros, and the Gimel Chamuros are all Yeharig Val Yavor. You have to give your life for them. rather than violate him. Rabbi Shmuel is a modified shita. He says, yes, it is Yeharig Val Yavar, only what? Only Befarhesia, only publicly. But I will say privately, Rabbi Shmuel paskins that if an akum comes to me privately and says, Silber, either worship Avoda Zara or I'll kill you, and it's only me and him in the room, what's the halacha? I will say, what's the halacha? I should worship idolatry and not give my life. So we'll say, watch this. So therefore, again, Ben Dama knew the shita of his uncle, that you could even be over on Avoda Zara, ultimately to save your life. And therefore he felt over here, there's a mandate of V'chai Bohem, couple that with my uncle's shita, and therefore this Yaakov Ish Kfar Sachanyer should be able to administer medicinal healing to me. Rabbi Shmuel says, my dear nephew, what you don't realize is that what's happening now, this is a Farhesia situation. This is a Farhesia. And because what's going to happen, this Yaakov Ish Kfar Sachanyer is going to make this into what? If he heals you, he's going to make this into a coup for his Avoda Zara. He said, wasn't me, it was my Avoda Zara. Therefore, Rabbi said, this takes on an Avoda Zara, Avoda Zara tone to it. And because this is Befarhesia, ultimately accepting healing from this individual is prohibited. Rabbi Shmuel holds Rabbi that we only say that you could worship Avoda Zara if it's Betzina, but if it's Befarhesia, where there's an element of Chil Hashem, as we'll see more in tomorrow's daf, ultimately, again, it has to be Yehareg Va'al Yavar. All right, we'll stop over here. Again, we're not finished with this sugya. We'll see more of it.